Hello, guys. It's your TFFL commissioner, Johnny here. I usually write articles. A league I've been in, they record videos, and it's something that I think I want to give a try. So I'm just gonna jump right in it here. I was trying to come up with something I wanted to make a video about. Maybe some rules talk, maybe some coronavirus, maybe season previews. But I just decided to just dive in, give it a try. I'm gonna dive into PJ's team. Maybe I've done the team previews in the past, broken down each team. I may do those going forward in article form. Who the hell knows? Depends on how bored I get. But I just want to try a video. Let's see how it works. Right here we got our TFFL Lieutenant Commissioner Sapphire here with me. We spent a few minutes looking over PJ's team, and we're just gonna dive into it. Why not? Let's see. You want to do it? Yeah, I agree. So at quarterback, PJ has the Seahawks, Russell Wilson, and the Texans, Deshaun Watson. Now, that's going to be $5.50 in quarterbacks, which is more than you want to pay. That's more. That's a lot of money for quarterbacks. But it's two of the best quarterbacks in the league. So, $3.15 for Russell Wilson, $2.35 for Deshaun Watson. You got to do it, in my opinion. So you're keeping those two guys. Now, we can get into the topic here that I think in this league we should go to something like a super flex where you can start more than one quarterback, but I may never get the momentum to get something like that passed. But in a 10-team league, starting one quarterback, it just makes quarterbacks not valuable enough, and we can argue about that another day. For now, PJ's running backs. Let's move on. I think he should keep the Eagles, Miles Sanders, and the Seahawks, Chris Carson. Miles Sanders is owed $2.30 on his rookie draft contract. Chris Carson would need to be re-signed at $3.90. Now, Chris Carson was hurt last year. He's got some competition. What do we know about the Seahawks? It's $3.90 is a lot of money, but PJ is a Seahawks fan, so I'm predicting that he keeps Carson. But that would mean that he would have to cut David Johnson of the Texans. To keep David Johnson, he would have to pay him $3.80. So, he's not staying on the team, in my opinion, but, he's a good candidate for the transition tag. We got Darius Geis at 95 cents on his rookie contract. The Redskins running back Darius Geis, who has been perpetually injured. Geis is one of those guys where, okay, we could keep him at 95 cents for one more year, and we can hope he breaks out. But, okay, if he breaks out, then next year, we got to pay him $4. So for me, he's one of those guys you got to play a little strategy with here. I would cut him. Cut him. If you love him, try to get him back in the auction draft. You can probably get him back for $1 or $2, and then you got him for $1 or $2 for the next 3 years, and you're not faced with a year from now having to pay him $4. So that's the strategy for me. It's then you move on to another guy. I would cut the Rams, Darrell Henderson. He's owed $1.15. He scored all of 29 fantasy points. How many fantasy points did you think Darrell Henderson scored in 2019? I bet it was more than 29. But Malcolm Brown's there. They drafted a rookie. It's not gonna work for Darrell Henderson. I'm not paying him $1.15. I'm cutting him, which gives PJ two running backs, Miles Sanders and Chris Carson, at $6.20. Let's move on to the wide receivers. At wide receiver, I'd probably keep the Browns' Odell Beckham. You got to pay him the XZ rate of $3.20, but I think you got to keep Beckham. He's been a disappointment the last few years. A few years ago, he was kind of in the conversation for one of the top Dynasty picks, but he hasn't been performing. We move on to Cortland Sutton, the Broncos wide receiver. PJ can keep him for 50 cents for one more year. He's another one of those guys where, all right, we get him for one more year at 50 cents, but maybe it makes sense to cut him right now, try to get him back for $1 or $2, and then you got him for $1 or $2 for 3 years. But right now, we can keep him for 50 cents for 2020, but then we're going to have to pay him $3 in 2021. So it's a tough call. You know, I got very little faith in Drew Lock as a passer. They drafted Jerry Jeudy, so I don't know how much that hurts Sutton, but I like Sutton's talent. I like his future, but tough call here. Next, we got Preston Williams of the Dolphins. He's owed 25 cents for the next 2 years. He's an easy keep. So right there, I project 3 keepers for PJ at wide receiver, which would total $3.95. Odell Beckham, Cortland Sutton, and Preston Williams, which would mean we would have to cut the Patriots' Julian Edelman. Now, I think Edelman's still got something left in the tank, but he's owed $2.95. He's 34 years old as of the start of the season. I can't spend $3 on Julian Edelman. It's just not going to work. Antonio Brown, he's obviously a cut. We're not paying him $3.20 when he's such a head case and not even currently on a team. Now we move on to Michael Gallup. Maybe our most important case here. He's, I've already touched on it. Gallup is owed only 30 cents on his rookie contract. 30 cents, but that's at 1 year left. So we can keep Gallup at 30 cents and hope he continues to break out. But if he does break out or, continue to perform well, he did great in 2019. Now we got CeeDee Lamb on board. That needs to be mentioned. But Gallup is owed 30 cents for 1 year. And then you're going to have to pay him $3 in 2021. So my strategy here, which I don't think it gets talked about enough in TFFL, I'm cutting Michael Gallup. Despite being an excellent wide receiver that I want on my team, I'm cutting him because I don't want to be faced with paying him $3 next year. With one year left on this contract, and these are the kind of things you need to think about, I think. Next, we got Mike Williams of the Chargers. He's owed $2.95. He hasn't earned that. You got to cut him. We got the Texans' Kiki QT. He's owed 50 cents, but he's shown nothing. And he's not worth a roster spot. The 49ers' Jalen Hurd. He's owed 75 cents. Didn't score a single point in 2019. He's a cut. Moving on to the tight ends, we got the Saints' Jared Cook for 50 cents. The Dolphins' Mike Gesicki for 50 cents. The Buffalo Bills' Dawson Knox for 50 cents. Those are obvious keepers to me. You also have David Njoku of the Browns. You could pay him 80 cents to keep him. But, Njoku's been hurt. The Browns just acquired Austin Hooper. They drafted Harrison Bryant in the 4th round. I don't see a spot for Njoku here. I would cut him. Kicker, he's got the Falcons' Younghoe Koo. He should probably keep him. Cut Steven Gostkowski. My stance on this. I don't talk about kickers. Moving on. It gives him 11 quote-unquote offensive players. Obviously, can kickers be called offensive players? No, not really, but it's the easiest way to classify them for TFFL purposes. 11 offensive players at $17.65. If you follow my guidance here, that's a lot of money. That's over half, if I'm doing the math right. Yeah, over half of your $33 budget on your offense there, which makes sense. Offense costs a lot of money. Move on to the defensive line. I'm keeping none of these guys. I'm hitting the reset button for PJ. So I'm keeping nobody at defensive line. Justin Houston of the Colts is owed $1.25. I'm cutting him loose. He finished at defensive lineman 25 last year. So I can see an argument, but he's kind of old. I don't know. $1.25 is a lot of money. I'm also cutting Derek Barnett of the Eagles. He is wanting $1.70. He finished as DL 52 last year. Not worth $1.70 in my mind. I'm cutting him. Got the Bears Akeem Hicks who I'm cutting because he wants a $170. He was injured in 2019. He did finish as DL13 in 2018, so he's got some promise. But a $170, I'm cutting him loose. I'm not keeping any defensive linemen. Moving on to the linebackers, I'm keeping the Texans Zach Cunningham at a $180. I'm keeping the Steelers Devin Bush at a $150. I'm keeping the Saints Demario Davis at 75 cents, and I'm keeping the Titans Rashaan Evans at 50 cents. Over on the cut side, you got to cut Jatavis Brown of the Chargers. I guess he's still in the Chargers now. For some reason, I wrote the Eagles here, but I think he's still in the Chargers for 50 cents. Thomas Davis, he's old. His knees are bionic. Where's he going to fit in Washington? We're cutting him. Robert Quinn, he got moved from defensive lineman to a linebacker as he went over to the Bears. He's not worth it. We're cutting him. That gives him 4 linebackers at $4.55. So we're moving on to the defensive backs. We're keeping Budda Baker of the Cardinals for $1. We're keeping Taylor Rapp of the Rams for 50 cents. We're keeping the Jaguars Ronnie Harrison for 50 cents. We're keeping the Broncos Kareem Jackson at 50 cents. And PJ may want to keep the Seahawks Marquise Blair for 50 cents. He's a young guy with a lot of promise, but right now we got Quandre Diggs and Bradley McDougald ahead of him. But long-term, Blair's probably going to find somewhere to fit in there. In 2020, I think he's probably more like a backup, which means we have to cut our longtime steady Rashad Jones, who is currently not on the team. He's owed $1 in TFFL. We got to cut him loose. It's kind of sad. He helped PJ win a championship or 2, but his days are done. That gives PJ 5 defensive backs at $3. It brings his defense to 9 players at $7.55. Altogether, you add that together, PJ has 20 players at $25.20. That would mean he'd be going into draft day needing 13 players at $7.80. $8 to spend on draft day. Not a ton, but it's respectable. It would give him a max bid of $4.80. So I could see PJ changing that up a little bit, obviously. Maybe there's some tough ones in there. Chris Carson for $4. Man, Odell Beckham for $3.20. Cutting Michael Gallup when he's only owed 30 cents. Some tough ones in there. And even keeping both the quarterbacks. I think if we actually had a good quarterback kind of structure in this league, he could maybe trade one of those guys. But I think in this situation, he's just got to keep both of them. So that's my preview of PJ's team. And we might keep going down the line. But let me know what you thought of that.